Hello everyone, welcome to That's Your Opinion Not Mine. My name is Chris, and Tez is floating about over there making sure everything's going smoothly, and we've got a very special guest, David, aka the Mindful DJ. Wagwan. What's happening, Dave?
Nice one, mate.
You alright? Thanks for coming down. How you doing today? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad
I got through my nibbles.
Your what?
My nibbles.
Oh, I have your nibbles. Yeah, I rushed you, didn't I?
You confiscated them.
Well, they were vegan, so
They're over there just out of...
they were vegan, so it's fine. That's all well and good. Vegan chicken. Actually, I tasted it. It was half decent.
Yeah, it was very good.
So,
like the real thing.
Like the real thing. But we're not going to get into that because...
You can have the debate.
No, I can't be bothered. Because I did throw up a stupid... Now thinking about it, it was quite stupid, really. Why do vegans want to eat
I'm a part-time vegan.
You're part-time?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're a vegetarian or... No, you're a pescatarian.
Pescatarian, yeah, still eat fish.
So you're dabbling in all sorts. You got your fingers in all the pies, except for the meat ones. But yeah, that's good. So anyway, yeah, Dave, you're a good friend of mine. We know each other. Don't worry, it's good. So yeah, like I said, aka the Mindful DJ. How did the Mindful DJ come about, Dave?
Came about actually a few years ago. I was. What was I doing? I bought some new turntables because I'd not been using... I'd been DJing when I was younger, but I had a big gap, and I bought myself a pair of turntables and started mixing again. Around about the time I kind of met you as well. And I don't know, I've got a good friend, she's a Reiki healer, and she said, why don't you, I think she was doing some work in a radio station. She says you could have your own radio station. I thought, well, that sounds interesting. Because I was doing some live mixes on Facebook by that time. And I thought, do you know what? I'd like to somehow bring something to the community in terms of my own learning and insights, everything around well-being and self-awareness and spirituality. And I thought, well, why don't we bring something like that to the community in some way, through media. And initially that was through, like I say, community radio, and that kind of didn't work out. And
we done the show briefly, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
it was what was the show called? It was the Mindful DJ.
It was called the Mindful DJ.
Yeah, it was called the Mindful DJ, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. The Mindful DJ show.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've done about 3 shows or something, didn't we? And
then it went a bit Pete Tong.
Yeah. I don't really want to get into it. It's just, it's
it was good experience
stuff. Yeah, it was a good experience.
Started us off, otherwise I wouldn't be here doing this.
That's right. And then really I just thought, well, I can't be bothered with all that. And just like yourselves, I thought, well, start a YouTube channel, use the platforms that are available to you, to try and get a positive message out there of, for people to kind of, plug into, as I've plugged into lots of positive messages and teachers and spiritual teachers. And so, yeah, I guess the Mindful DJ really is like a brand or packaging now, which allows me to share various content that is uplifting, insightful, challenging, questioning, inquiring into social issues, and looks a little bit deeper than just surface. Do you know what I mean? I think that's how I would summarise it. I'm not so good at summarising a lot of the time. I tend to waffle, do you know what I mean?
Tell me about it.
I had a little think about it. Cheeky bugger.
I'm joking. That's why I asked you for the interview. We've got plenty of time. That one.
Yeah. I know you can edit this as well, so... Yeah. That's all good.
Yeah.
Long pauses.
Thank God for editing.
Yeah.
No, that is good. No, it's good. Like, it's we have to talk about it. So
I was intrigued, actually. I thought, why does he want to interview me when he's got like people like Mike Righteous, the calibre of Mike Righteous?
It doesn't matter. It's like, look, I treat everyone fairly and the same, and I think there's good value. I'm not interviewing because you're solely my friend. I'm interviewing you because we're going to discuss other things later on in the interview, but I think the whole concept of the Mindful DJ and the things we do as a collective, I think is worthy of talking about it, getting out there, and trying, all the links will be in the description of this channel, and this video will probably be on Dave's channel as well. So yeah, but we'll speak about that.
I must say as well, actually, I really liked your interview of Mike Righteous. I watched the whole thing. and it actually properly introduced me to him and his whole ethos in philosophy. And I was really intrigued. I really liked what he had to say. I think he's a good guy.
He is, and he's a lovely fella. You know, wearing contacts and that, and he's just a humble, down to earth, lovely geezer.
And a fierce MC. I mean, I saw that fire in the booth. Like,
he's fierce. His album Suicidal, if you ever get a chance to listen to it, it's mind blowing. It's absolutely mind blowing. So yeah, within this interview, David, I'm going to be throwing at you some random questions as well, because I don't like to have a generic. I like to throw some weird stuff out there. So this is one of them coming up. I just thought I'll just prep you first. What is the one thing that no one or very few people know about you?
This is where editing's going to come in, because I'm going to have to think, can I?
Well, it depends. It's like, you know,
what that nobody knows about.
Well,
me.
very few people know.
Or very few know about me.
Just do the countdown clock.
I swear a lot.
Wow.
Not in public, in the car.
Do you?
Yeah. Could you bleep out swear words on here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Shit.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
So you swear a lot in the car?
I swear a lot, yeah.
Wow. Any particular, what brings you on? Anything in particular? Drivers? By any chance?
Yeah, you could say, yeah. But it's like, yeah. I guess people might think, oh, he's a spiritual guy, he wouldn't swear. But what I've learned in spirituality is that it's not about putting on a pretense.
Yeah, spiritual
about
ego.
being yourself, yeah. So sometimes things come up, and it's like you just got to let that energy out, right? And so if you're kind of on the road as you are, and there's loads of on the road,
absolutely,
you have to bleep that word out.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, good. What about cunt?
No, we'll definitely believe cunt.
It's a spiritual word, cunt.
Yeah. What, Kundalini?
It is a spiritual woman, apparently.
What, cunt?
Cunt,
Is it?
Yeah. Honestly, look it up.
Wow, I never knew there was a spiritual woman called cunt.
But it's been hijacked
by the common peopledom.
Yeah.
By the East Londoners.
Yeah.
You silly cat.
So yeah, I do swear, but it's kind of in the confines of my family, who are quite used to it.
Sorry, Dave, I have to get over it. I can't believe what you just said. So it was a woman called cunt. That's what you said, yeah.
Cunt is a spiritual term. It's a spiritual woman, yeah.
So that's really interesting. I did not know that. So yeah, it made me feel better about myself.
It's actually a lot of my, I guess I'd call my what do I refer to them as, like my mentors, I guess. I've got people that I've kind of come across over the years, and women that have been quite nurturing, actually, kind of like almost like spiritual family, spiritual mothers, and my Reiki healer friend, is very much like that, and has been there when I've been through some really difficult experiences, like life experiences, mental illness, and they've always been there. It's kind of like, I felt very sort of nurtured a lot along the way by certain people, very spiritual people, yeah.
So you love a mother figure, that's what you're telling me. Anyway, that's another story for another day. So yeah, it's a great segue of what we're going to move on to. And we was discussing this a few weeks back, and I've been dying for this segment of the interview. What are the phrases you can't stand that other people use?
There's loads of them, right? And I know when they come up, I'm trying to kind of trying to think of them, but there is quite a few. What's
your pet peeves when people say
100%? You already used it.
Yeah.
100%. As a kind of, it's just overused, and I'm like, oh my god, 100%. It's like a positive affirmation, right? But it's just. It's so routine and cliche that when you got these overused terms, I just think,
I've got this, you've got this.
Oh yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. You've got this. It just it's like, it's used often in recovery circles, and I think it's antithetical. I like
Oh, I like
big
that
word,
one. Bleep that one out, Tez. No, I'm joking.
Antithetical, so it's like oppositional to.
Authentic.
No, antithetical means the antithesis is the opposite of,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
So
gotcha.
antithetical is the
Right,
opposite.
okay, cool. Blimey.
Yeah, it's antithetical to, where was I?
You was talking about
100%.
I've got this. You've got this.
That's it. So in recovery circles, it's used quite often. And of course, in recovery, we know it's all about surrender of the ego self that likes to be in control and likes to so it's kind of like, so telling people you've got this is like a strengthening of the ego. You've got this. It's like, well, in recovery, we recognise that, we let go of this need to control and to be the one that is so self-assured and cocky. And it's like, actually, I'm just the same as everybody else. And it's about right-sizing yourself. So I don't think you got this is very helpful for
It's not
people
helpful.
in recovery circles. So I guess where I'm coming to is that there's method to the madness of why I despise certain terms.
Yeah, not just.
I'm justifying them.
Oh,
by
you
the way.
justify. Yeah, well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course, that's another one. No shit, Sherlock. That's like borderline. But I don't like Bud. Oh, Bud. Yeah. When people say, right, Bud, it's like, I don't know if it's because, hello, Bud, like, okay, I've got this, Bud. It's like, I don't know if it's because the country bumpkins use it, because I'm not familiar with that sort of talk.
Or you say, look, I don't smoke the bud no more.
No, not anymore, no. But yeah, Bud, awesome, I can't stand. I hate that word.
Really?
It's annoying.
I say it quite a lot.
Look, it's like, it's just Americanized.
No, actually,
bullshit.
maybe I don't use it so
You
much
don't use it
anymore.
a lot. Since I said I don't like it, you've not been using it a lot.
Okay.
I think you've been
Maybe
mindful.
out of respect, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's out of respect.
Out of respect, you come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding. Anyway.
So 100%, you got this.
Any others floating about?
I despise ones that come into the vernacular very, very quickly and everyone's using them, just like totally saturated, and all of a sudden they're gone.
Super.
So, oh yeah, that's it. So I'm super excited. What about the word very, right? It's an English word. What's wrong with the word very? Oh, I'm super excited.
It's super great. Super wonderful.
And yeah, I just get tired of these terms. Let's not get it twisted. Oh, let's not get it twisted. And everyone was saying it for about 3 months, and now it's gone.
Yeah. But we used to say that back in the day.
Did you?
Yeah, a long time ago before it ever become fashionable, in a sense. Yeah, that was like sort of street. Don't get it twisted, bruv. Like back in the day.
What about you, Tez?
Yeah.
What do you hate?
People that short
Terms.
down words like I'm well hacked.
Well, haps. I've never heard that before.
Defo.
Yeah. I don't
Defo.
like defo so much. Those people like I'm well hacked or proper orcs or
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
No, I think I'm on that with you. That sounds awful. It sounds really awful.
Yeah, that's how I make talks. I'm constantly like, no, you're well happy. Happy.
Well, haps. Wow.
But I'm sure there's loads of others.
Yeah.
I just,
If you know any, just stick them in the comments what ones you don't like, and then we'll have a look through them if you're watching.
well, you should ask your audience.
Yeah, definitely. What's your pet peeves or what people say and you think, shut up?
Terms and phrases.
Yeah, terms and phrases. Okay, that's great. So we've covered that. That's really good. It's we could talk about that all day long, really. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say to him?
My younger self.
Because I remember you told a story to me once when you was younger and you got some intuition when you was looking in the mirror.
Oh, you remember that?
I do remember.
What would I say to my younger self? I have thought about this before, because it comes up, doesn't it? People ask these questions on Facebook. What would you say to your younger self?
I haven't got these questions off Facebook, by the way.
You got this. You got this. Just as you are, son. Carry on.
Don't be a cunt.
Yeah, because I wouldn't change anything, you see.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, people say, well, if you could go back, how would you have lived your life? Well, I don't know, because, we're not in that scenario. And actually, my understanding is that everything that happens in your life is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I'm, surrendered to that, grace of this universe being a lot larger than my individual intentions and impulses and motivations, which are all arising from universal energy. It's all part of one thing, cause and effect. One thing affects another, and I ain't the controller of that. So I just through my kind of awakening process, I trust that it's all part, even the painful stuff. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess maybe what would I say to my younger self? It's going to be all right.
Yeah.
Carry on as you are.
That's right.
You're safe. Safe, bruv.
Safe, innit, brother? You got me though, yes, fam. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done?
The dumbest thing? I've done lots of pretty f***ing dumb things, Chris.
Is there any particular ones you think,
dumbest thing I've done?
shit, that was dumb?
Interesting term as well. Dumb.
I know.
I guess you're talking about regret.
Stupid. Or things you
I once touched an iron to see if it was hot. Yeah. My mum always used to tell people that story. You once you used to touch the iron to see if it was hot.
No, that's pretty dumb.
That's pretty dumb, isn't it?
Knowing that it is hot and just testing out.
Well, no, to see if it was hot.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, so I like living on the edge.
Speaking about living on the edges, you're really taking him into into the next question. The great segue.
I'm on fire today,
Organic
mate. I'm on
segues.
fire.
Here's the organic segue.
It's
man.
the nuts and it's the fake chicken.
Yeah, it's the fake. It's all down to the fake chicken and nuts. Boating. You're a boating enthusiast, Dave, and I want to speak about because you haven't always been a boating enthusiast, have you? It's quite a recent thing.
Boating. So we first went out on boats in 2013. A colleague actually, she was due to retire and she had a narrowboat. I knew nothing about him before. It wasn't even in my, on my radar. And so in talking to her, she said, "Yeah, we're going to retire onto a boat." And we were talking about, I thought, that sounds lovely. That sounds right up my street. Travelling at slow pace along these very old networks. I mean, these like hundreds of year old networks, how, industry is built on these kinds of networks, from big places like Manchester, Birmingham, all the big cities would ship, goods and things like that. And that's how, before all the road networks. And I was fascinated because I thought, it's going to be some, windy kind of, canal systems through very, beautiful countryside and old towns with loads of history, and it's almost like you're in a different world. You're in the you're still in the UK, but you're in a different world, and I like that idea. So we hired a boat on the Grand Union Canal, and we never looked back. So we've pretty much gone every year we've been on 2 this year because I'm a greedy bastard, and so it's something that we've very much fallen in love with, and represents the kind of life that I want to be living, really. Life in the slow lane, out the rat race and all that, and
not 100 miles per hour.
Being in the countryside and enjoying sort of walks and that kind of community life as well. Because in the boaters, narrowboat world, it's a good community to be a part of, supportive community. Not perfect, people get the amp, I'm sure. Someone's going at 3 mile an hour when you should be going at 2 mile an hour. Or
that is proper slow, isn't it? It's like, slow down, you're going too fast. It's like, okay.
So yeah, we're very much into the narrowboat vloggers, and favourite ones, Weldeck Diaries, Floating Our Boat, Narrowboat Girl, Robbie Cumming. He's actually been on some BBC stuff. And of course, there's the famous, Canal Boat Journeys with Prunella Scales and Timothy West.
Rosie and Jim. Quack. Sorry. I know. So no, that's good. It's excellent. I'm glad, and we have to have our passions. You are into moving on. You are into your drum and bass and stuff. So I want to ask you about your influences, not necessarily in drum and bass, but in general. Have you got any influences either in the music industry or any other industry?
So just influences music wise,
or anything.
Well, I mean, I think when I was younger, it was very much Michael Jackson. Yeah, I was. I loved Michael Jackson, his music. It was, I'd go to weddings and parties. It was my little party piece.
Michael Jackson, yeah, dance.
Yeah, Michael Jackson,
Do
yeah.
the moonwalk and all that.
Yeah, and I won a karaoke competition.
Did you?
Yeah, in the local sort of shopping sort of centre in where I grew up in St Albans. I think I was about 10, and we were supposed to go to a wedding that day, my uncle's wedding, but this fog descended on the whole country. It was so thick, and I think my dad decided it was too unsafe to drive because of that. So we didn't end up not going to this wedding, and we kind of like, it was a bit sort of sad and that. So we went to the shopping centre instead. So this is what I'm saying. One thing seems to be a bit of a, but it sets you on a different course. So went to this karaoke competition. Didn't expect nothing, I don't think. I'd done my karaoke bit of, Michael Jackson, and they put me into like the final up against this young girl. I think she's about 15, and she was singing Whitney Houston. She was probably better than me, but maybe because I was younger and sweeter. I won £100 to shopping anywhere in any shop in that shopping centre. Wow. So I went to a sports shop and got myself a banging pair of trainers, bruv.
Nike?
Yeah, they were Nike, yeah. Nike Air TNs.
Nice.
So Michael Jackson, yeah, was my influence. And I was really sad, when he died. And every time I watch some of his brilliance on, in a video and stuff, I feel this sense of oh man, that is gutting. Because we're getting ready for that. This Is It, that show.
That's right.
Yeah. And it was we would have gone to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
they tried to do him up, didn't they, as well? Unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
They tried to stripe him up.
Absolutely, through that whole. Controversial it may be, but I don't believe any of that.
Nor do I.
Stuff that was said about it.
No.
It was all people, in my view.
Yep.
And I'm open to being wrong, but my intuition says none of that was fair.
It was all down to money, wasn't it, and exploitation.
Yeah. So yeah, Michael Jackson and I'm talking about early day, sort of, when I was really young. Phil Collins. I liked a bit of Phil Collins.
I tried to keep a straight face.
What?
Genesis.
Genesis.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, I was listening. Yeah. What's wrong with Phil Collins?
No, Phil Collins is cool. I love Phil Collins, but
you not seen Buster?
Of course, I've seen Buster.
London and all that.
Anyway, yep.
So, what else? Depeche Mode.
Yep.
Yeah, so big electronic band. Jean-Michel Jarre I used to listen to a bit. Yeah.
You're a big fan of Andy C as well, yeah?
Yeah, but that's coming a bit later. Okay. I'm trying to think really early.
Old school.
When I was before the rave scene, yeah. Because obviously that was extremely influential, massive part of my life. So I think it was about 14 or 15 when I kind of fell into the rave scene. And then, yeah, all the DJs that have been around since, the beginning. So, yeah, Andy C., Jumping Jack Frost and DJ Hype and Brocky and hardcore MCs, hardcore DJs as well. DJ Psy and Slipmatt and Rat Pack and all these people really involved in the rave scene, the big names, and it was kind of was part of my life that I'm really glad I experienced. And it's historic, it's 30 years ago. There's an exhibition in, so one of the places we used to go to, the Sanctuary in Milton Keynes, there's now an exhibition started, starts today in Milton Keynes on the history of this. I think it's called Sanctuary, the Unlikely Home of British Rave, I think it's called. So Sanctuary was a purpose-built warehouse for raves. So it's where they held Dreamscape, Helter Skelter, all the big raves. Yeah, it was just for me, it kind of held so many sort of memories of getting out and meeting people from like north, south, east, west. You know, we had people down from Scotland, people from London, and just this sense of, you know, coming together and just living your best life, Chris.
Yeah.
See, that's another pet peeve. Living your best life.
Live your best life.
Overused, but yeah, generally, like living life, celebrating life, and freedom and unity. Where, you know, and people coming together regardless of what colour or background. It didn't matter. You know, you know, identity didn't matter. It's like we're all together, we're all raving and having a great time. And for me, it feels like that's really what life should all be about, is being together, enjoying each other's company, celebrating each other's, you know, gifts and talents, and just having a bloody good time, you know. And so yeah, and of course, you know, at the time drugs were a very big part of it. And again, not something that I regret or wish to shut the door on.
But you wouldn't want to go back.
I don't want to go. Yeah, I certainly don't. You know, I don't want to go back there. And I think I'm part of groups now, online groups for, you know, 90s rave groups and stuff. And there are people that are still, you know, hanging on to that. They can't let go. They're lost in, like, they're trying to cling to something that's past. And you know, one of the people that was very instrumental in my raving life, you know, he died this year. We're not quite sure how, because there's not been a huge amount of frankness about it. But I know mental health was an issue for him, and he was kind of clinging to that old life. And for me, it's about, you know, I realised that I can't hang on to old feelings or trying to recapture those old feelings, you know, and you know, drugs and alcohol are no longer part of my life, and I think some people are still chasing that, and you know, potential addicts, you know, and yeah, but I still love the music, and so giving up the drugs and the alcohol hasn't meant that I've had to, you know, give up my passion for music. You know, quite the contrary, really.
So yeah, enjoying the music without, you don't have to partake in all of the madness what goes with it. I'll take it. You can just enjoy it, can't you?
Yeah.
You don't have to associate with all.
No inhibitions. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are trying to, you know, they feel that they need to take something to lose their inhibitions and stuff. And I guess my process of awakening out of the restrictive psychology of the addictive illness has allowed me to see that actually I don't need any supplement or substance to allow me to, you know, I've already naturally become less inhibited by, you know, old ideas, you know, toxic psychology, self-consciousness, what you know, what might they think, and become, you know, very free in how I move in the world, and I don't need any of it, and I can go out and party and, you know, have a good time, and, you know, dance like a crazy fool and perform on stage as a lady.
Yeah, we're just coming on to that, funny enough. Yeah, before we get on to that, we'll speak about that in a sec. YouTube channel and Facebook page. So the Mindful DJ, we touched on it briefly earlier on. You've got a YouTube channel and a Facebook page. We'll link the description down below, don't worry, and it'll probably be on Dave's channel anyway. So tell us a little bit about the YouTube channel. What's that about? You decided just to upload some videos. What's on?
Well, yeah, I just felt it was a good place to share content, really. Guided meditations, videos of footage of being on the waterways, which there's a few videos on there, you know, of being on narrow boats that we've been on this year, for example, and you know, music mixes of and Yeah, I mean, I haven't given it a huge amount of attention recently because of, life really, and being really, really busy and having a lot on my plate really. I've got a full-time job as well. So, but yeah, for example, we went out and had one of our mindful truth meetings, which we usually do via Zoom on Saturdays, but we went out in the summer to Samphire Hoe in Dover. So there's a footage of that really, and yeah, I'm not really kind of professional in the editing skills or anything, but I'm just trying to upload content that I hope will be useful to someone. And if it just reaches one person, which actually it has. I mean, there's one person that has just come out of the blue and been really, really supportive of that, watched every video, made comments, shared, and we're friends now, do you know what I mean, on Facebook, and she's kind of, it's lovely to hear people say that, actually I was on this path, but the things that you were sharing have really opened my eyes, and so all I'm doing is really kind of sharing what has been massively valuable to me and opened my eyes, and brought about huge clarity, and so my teachers, Muji, Rupert Spira, I think there's one of my videos is of because I love to go out and sit out, especially in the summertime at the edge of fields, see the sun come up, and plug in some of this, this spiritual wisdom in books from some of these spiritual masters, and so there's I think a video of that, of where I'm reading from that book and kind of maybe speaking from that place of consciousness, of awakening. So to see other people, kind of be able to shed loads of baggage just through our weekly interactions and get feedback, and people say, there's some change happened for me, is incredible, and
it's all worthwhile then, isn't it?
It's all I wanted to do from a young age. Is I wanted to serve people. That was my intent, my inner intent. And I remember from as a child, I saw a lot of suffering, and I grew up in an age in the 80s where you see images of starving kids, Ethiopia, Live Aid, all that kind of stuff, and I was like, I'd see that pain, and I would be like, no, I need to do something. We need to help people, and it was just this kind of fundamental sense of like wanting to be of service and alleviate people of their suffering. But of course I had to go through my own suffering, and I had to and know that actually I can't come from this helping others from a position of, like, you see these people, they film themselves, going,
don't
feeding the homeless, and it's all for like praise and worship and
clouds,
and kudos, and so that's wrong motivation. And I had to move beyond that myself, because there was a point where I was trying to serve, but it was very.
You was a manager of a charity.
I was manager for a fundraising company,
right.
Yeah, and it was very, very much egotistical, self-absorbed, but I had my own issues. So I mean, I don't, I know that was my level of consciousness at that point, so I don't judge myself.
You still meant well, didn't you? Like at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I still my intent. I think there was a genuine intent. It was just hijacked by ego, narcissism, and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Obviously, I don't think I'm coming from that place now. And in my day-to-day work, my professional life, again, it's all about right motivation, and now I don't even think about what I'm getting, whether it's like the YouTube stuff. I mean, I get very little engagement, right? But like I say, that it reached that one person at least. It reached that person, and the people that I'm involved with, personally, face to face, who come along to the the meditation groups, the meetings, I know that's having an impact on their lives. So I mean, that's all that matters really. If it just helps one person, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, we've got meditation group. You do a meditation group on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So we've touched on that. And also, just to finish off, I just wanted to ask you quickly about, you're in Panto, Dave. You're in Panto as Dame Dolly. What is this all about? Like, where can we, tell the people, where is it? Where can we see it? We'll put the link in the description where you can get the tickets.
I don't know when this is going out, but I mean, it's very, very soon. So 16th to the 18th.
Of December. Will this video be out by then?
I'll try.
But,
regardless of that, I mean, so
it's either before or afterwards. Okay, so he was Dame Dolly, or he's going to be Dame Dolly.
It's a community group, so yeah, I mean, it's my daughter's has been involved for some years in a theatre group called Act One, non-profit, community based theatre group, amateur, and they put on shows every year. One in the summer and one at Christmas, Panto at Christmas. Yeah, I've been involved in sort of supporting my daughter through that, and then of course this year, last year there was nothing. Everything's been on hold for the past 18 months because of pandemic, and and kids have really suffered and sacrificed a lot. And actually kids I don't know how much I want to get into this, but I knew back at the beginning that there was going to be an increase in and it actually the evidence showed that there was an increase in abuse, in child-related head traumas and things, because actually when stay at home, stay safe doesn't mean that's the way it is for everybody, because then people are less visible, vulnerable children are less visible, they're not going to school, and all these places where they'd get, so children really have suffered. And so when things started opening up again, and I felt, Emily said we need a dame, for the Panto, and they were trying to like basically strong arm me into it, but it didn't need a lot of strong arming, to be honest, because I was like, do you know what, this is about kind of celebrating the fact that we're not locked down anymore, and life is for living. It's not without risk, but life is for living. You
take a risk when you get out of bed in the morning, don't you? Let's be honest.
So I'm going to live it. And actually, I'm very much a believer in that. We should be given the responsibility to take our own reasonable risks. And of course, there's been a lot of controversy and debate around what constitutes that in the context of pandemic. And we may all have different ideas and opinions on that. So anyway, that opportunity came up, and I just was like, I didn't think about, whether I'd be able to do it or not. I just said, yeah.
And then we edit over to a picture of Dave as Dame Dolly.
So it involves all singing, all dancing. Like, I've been learning dances. I've been watching episodes of Little Britain. I don't know if that's PC these days or whether they've been cancelled, but the David Walliams sketches of "I'm a lady." I've been watching that, and at one point I lost my voice. I don't know whether that was because I was trying to speak too high pitch or whether it's a laryngitis.
Saw that teabagging.
You cheeky bugger. And I've been learning my lines, and that's been really good for me. So we're like 2 weeks away. And I've been learning these dances with my daughter, and it's just working with young people. There's a few mature casts as well, like myself, someone older than me. So it's just like being part of something that we're working towards, something to put a smile on people's faces. And after all this like lockdown and hiding away in your homes and hiding from each other, and it's like out into the open, let's celebrate life, let's have a good time. And loads of people want to come and see it, interestingly enough, because maybe it's something that they don't they think, oh, that's a bit of an interesting contrasting role, because people know me in different contexts. I know people in a very professional context. I know people in addiction recovery, and so I think it's interesting for people to see me not in the role that not in the role that they used to. So we went out on last Sunday to we couldn't even turn on the Christmas lights because apparently that would introduce too many people at one time. So there was no turning on of the Christmas lights because of COVID restrictions, but there was a big gathering around a stage. So anyway, forget about that.
Don't get started, please.
Yeah, don't get me started on the COVID politics. But so we did a performance on stage in the middle of Ramsgate High Street to promote the panto, and I was in full dressed up gear. I'm sure you'll probably show the photo, and going out and meeting people and giving them leaflets, and I was properly fully in character, talking to them in my lady voice.
What is your voice? Can you give us a demo on the voice?
A demo on the voice
of your Dame voice.
Okay. Well, I've kind of, I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Hello, my name's Dame Dolly, and I'm named after the most amazing woman in the world, Miss Dolly Parton. Most people call me Double D. I can't imagine why.
You sound like a cross between Dame Edwarist and Mickey Mouse.
I don't know if it's actually going to be like that all the time, but we'll have to see.
No, well, I will see because I'm coming. I can't wait to see.
Have you got your tickets?
I'm going to get my tickets because they're going to sell out.
No, they are selling out, mate.
It's fine. I'll get the tickets. I'll get special treatment. No, I'll get tickets. I'm going to get the tickets.
So there's three nights. I'm
going to book them next week.
There's Thursday night, Friday night, and then Saturday there's two shows, an afternoon one and an evening one. Oh, it's going to be
full on.
Yeah.
Well, coming to the close of the interview, we can't close it without speaking about the Mindful Man group, our group that we all facilitate together. The Mindful Man group, which is a Tuesday evening at 7:00. The link will be in the description. So many links. A bit about the Mindful Man group. Who are we? What are we doing? And what is it for?
Mindful Man group.
Yes.
Right. So really, it's a men's well-being group. Yeah.
We were previously
a men's mental health support group, and of course, we transitioned out of that particular format for various reasons, and now we are Mindful Man group. Yeah. So, it's about supporting men's well-being. Just kind of strengthening each other through community. And we have our weekly Zooms to check in, see how everyone's doing. We've this year we've had face-to-face meets and walks in the woods, and
the picnic was legendary, wasn't it? That was like, we had pole when we turned up. There was pole dancers.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, picnic at Reculver Towers.
That's right. That was insane. And we had a geezer singing karaoke.
We couldn't have planned that better,
Tesco trolley. No,
couldn't have planned it better.
It was insane. We thought, wow.
So we booked that picnic, Reculver Towers. Thought that'd be a nice place, In the summer, it was August, was it?
Yeah,
August,
it was.
And we show up, and there's pole dancers. There's some photo shoot of pole dancers to the backdrop of the Reculver Towers. I was like, and my wife was with me as well. I was like, I really didn't plan this.
Your eyes just like, yeah.
And then that fella turned up, didn't he, with his shopping trolley and his karaoke machine.
Yes,
amazing,
singing, and we done a little dance. And
what's his name?
I can't remember.
Was it Wayne?
I think so. I think he was in a Man United top or something. Ugh. But he was a nice fella.
He was a nice fella, yeah. So that was one of our sort of face-to-face meets, and but the ethos again is about supporting each other, and helping us to kind of maintain a sense of self-awareness. So being a man isn't associated with ignorance and toxic masculinity. We're hopefully being good examples of what being a man is, and not being apologetic, because the whole identity politics these days, I read something came into my inbox about why we should be moving away from masculinity, and almost like we should be wiping.
No, yeah.
As though these are things to be, because they're just so much associated with negative things. And
Men have to be men,
the masculine and feminine energies and spirituality are genuine energies, and we all imbibe them to some sort of extent. I acknowledge that within me I've got sort of quite feminine qualities as well, in terms of wanting to be nurturing, to people, and openness. These are very feminine, spiritually, traditionally very feminine qualities. My friend, my Reiki healer friend, she talks very well about this. Actually, she'd be a good person to interview, perhaps. So yeah, it's not a case of like, I'm a man, and it's how much do you identify with some of these, with particular energies, to the extent that you think you're above certain things or what have you. So yeah, but I think the trouble is, I think men, speaking generally, the conditioning, the expectations in society is that men don't cry, men don't talk about how they feel, and put on a pretense. And of course, there are a lot of cultural reasons for, why men don't speak up. So I guess we're a group that tries to buck the trend and says, well, actually, we need to, because a lack of acknowledgement of my feelings and a lack of self-awareness was killing me. Addiction thrives on ignorance and dismissal of your emotions, not being open. It thrives on that. So yeah, I guess I was kind of, it's through, facing a life-threatening condition, was what addiction is, that forced me to become self-aware. So I'm grateful for that. I'm not saying like, I became self-aware because I'm a great guy. It's like, you're on the edge of a cliff.
Beaten into submission.
You're going to die,
yeah,
right? Because I was drinking myself to death and using myself to death. You're going to die. So, this is what's on offer. You got to get true. You got to get honest. It's like, somebody who's facing a life-threatening physical condition, cancer or something, and the doctor says, look, we can give you this treatment, and you got, pretty good chance, 90% chance that you're going to survive. Now I'll take the treatment. Let's have it. You're fully, and so I guess that's what I started. I realised in my own recovery is that I had to get true. I had to get honest, or I was just going to suffer in, and die. And I think there are many men in society, and of course suicide's a thing, isn't it? And suicide comes about through a lack of self-awareness, a lack of talking and being open. Men are at significant risk of suicide. I mean, it's the biggest, suicide is the biggest single killer of men under 50 globally. More men, suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50. My uncle, died by suicide. A few years ago, we're always hearing of next man. So I guess the very kind of what drives a group like this and why the focus is on men is because it is such a big issue that affects men. That I think it's important that we encourage spaces for men, in particular, to talk about how they feel. So, we can maybe reduce suicide, and support a culture that eradicates not masculinity but toxic masculinity, harmful masculinity, and represents and models a masculinity which is something to be proud of and not apologetic for, and hopefully we go some way to doing that as a mindful man group. So yeah, I guess that's what it's about.
Well, David, it's been absolutely fantastic spending some time with you and the interview and the conversation, and it's wonderful. Thank you for coming down.
Nice, mate.
Governor, really good. That was David, aka the Mindful DJ. Wonderful interview. Thank you very much for coming down. And you've been watching That's Your Opinion, Not Mine, with Tez and Chris. Tez is still here, floating about over there, making sure things are smooth. So we'll be back next week with God knows what. Actually, we are going to do a festive chili challenge, me and Tez. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And that is going to be, I'm all right, I'm a chili man. Tez, she don't do chili. So we said we're going to test Mike Righteous's chili sauce. So I've got an array of chili sauces that we're going to pile into. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's going to be interesting.
You're going to like rub it in your eyes and stuff?
No, we're not going to do that. We're just going to read it. You know, health and safety. We have to be careful.
No, elf and safety.
Elf and safety. Hey. David, what you like? So yeah, we'll be back next week on That's Your Opinion, Not Mine. Until next week, it's peace out from me. And he's going to tuck into his mince pies cookies.
Mince pie cookies.
I'm gonna.
That's festive.
Nosh on one of them in a minute.
Put some chili on that, bro.
Anyway, that's another word I don't like, bro or bruv. Anyway,
You don't like bro?
Bro is bollocks.
Broski.
Fuck. Anyway, until next week, peace out. Bye. Say bye to the people, them.
The people, them.
You're like Rosie and Jim. Bye, Rosie. Bye, Jim. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.